No one asked Noah's wife what she thought about the ark. They asked Noah about measurements, about animals, about rain that had never yet fallen. They mocked him, argued with him, avoided him. But her name was spoken only in passing, folded into his like an afterthought. Noah and his wife, as if she were cargo. Inside the ark, though, there was no mistaking her presence. The days began before light. She woke to breathing thousands of breaths laid together. The low thunder of cattle, the quick flutter of birds, the restless shifting of creatures who did not understand walls. The ark was always warm, always damp. Would groan like an old body trying to remember how to move. She learned the sounds by heart, which meant hunger, which meant fear, which meant the deep, shuddering quiet that came just before a storm struck the hull. Noah tended the structure. The sons tended the animals. She tended what could not be measured. She soothed. She waited. She watched. At first, she counted days. Then the rain made a mockery of numbers. Water struck the ark with a fury that felt personal. It hammered and clawed, found every weakness and tested it. At night, when the world outside screamed wind, water, breaking things, she pressed her palm to the beams and whispered to the wood as if it could hear her. Hold. Sometimes she dreamed of the women left behind. Friends, sisters. The girl who once laughed beside her at the river. In dreams, they knocked on the ark's walls, not in anger but confusion. Why you? They asked. She never had an answer. She woke from those dreams choking on guilt, on gratitude tangled so tightly she could not tell them apart. Noah prayed aloud. His voice was steady, faithful. She admired him for it. But her prayers were quieter, rougher things. She spoke to God the way one speaks to a force of weather, not accusing, not praising, just honest. I did not ask for this, she said once, crouched beside the cages of sleeping wolves. But I am here. The animals taught her patience. The lioness who would only eat if sung to. The doves who grieved the sky. The great beasts who seemed to know this was not a journey but a waiting. She discovered that care was not about tenderness, it was about showing up again and again, even when your heart resisted. Time stretched. Then it thinned. The day the rain stopped, she did not rejoice. Silence frightened her more than the storm. The ark drifted in a world erased, no landmarks, no familiar edges. Just water and sky, indistinguishable, infinite. When the dove returned with the leaf, the men celebrated. She held the small green thing between her fingers and felt something loosen in her chest, not joy, not yet, but permission to hope. When the doors finally opened, light spilled and like a held breath released. The animals rushed past her toward freedom. The sun shouted. Noah wept openly. She stepped out last. The earth smelled wrong, raw, emptied. Too clean. She knelt and pressed her hands into the mud, grounding herself in its cold resistance. This was not the world she had lost. This was something younger, something wounded. Noah built an altar. Smoke rose. God spoke again. But it was later, when night fell, that Noah's wife stood alone beneath the new, impossible arc of color in the sky. The rainbow was beautiful, achingly so, but it did not erase what the waters had taken. She understood then, salvation does not mean forgetting. It means carrying memory forward without letting it drown you. She turned back toward the others, toward the long work of planting and birthing and rebuilding, toward a future that would never be simple again. The ark behind her would rot in time. The world ahead would bruise and break and bloom. And she, unnamed, unremembered, would live. That, she decided, was covenant enough.